Imagine if everyone got together and like, you got your beliefs, and we've got all that shit. What if we make our focus, how do we stop all these people in the world making this an unsafe world for children?
I think this is the call to our viewers and the larger society. Because coming together is what is gonna save us. I mean, for me, it's
We're going to be destroyed by them.
We're gonna be destroyed by this, yes.
Like my parents were like, everyone's saying come home, be in the UK. The UK doesn't have the air defense system that this place has. What are we going to do? Throw rocks at them? So I feel
we can wear tiaras.
We can wear tiaras. I feel, I was looking for my tiara, I couldn't find it. But look, at the end of the day, I feel safer here than I would in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But what people have to remember is, no matter how logical you are about it, no matter how calm you can feel, and I'm a psychologist, and I know all the tricks of the trade, your nervous system is running along, almost like if you imagine like in parallel with your thinking. And the nervous system knows and it's aware. So the nervous system, your brain is learning to pick up on different sounds, different things. So everyone's getting very tired. But that is a tactic.
Yeah.
It's a tactic to disrupt certain hours of the day, things, everything's planned, nothing's random, right? And although we know it, there's this huge sense of relief when we get the signal that it's finished. But it's, there's something that we talked about last time. And there's something coming up so much. Every woman, and I'm really blessed because I know you and I know other women. All the women I seem to really have as strong friendships in my life are strong. And we were all saying similar things recently. There is a collective anger and rage from women, not only mothers, women. And it's like, and I know people talk about patriarchy and matriarchy, but there is a rising up of the matriarchy at the moment. There are women, just every woman I speak to is just, men they've had their time. No offense to the good men, but you've had your shot running this world, and we're done.
Yeah.
This world for me it's a female spirit. The earth gives birth, it gives life, as do we. And I think we're now realizing that our power, our strength, and our leadership as women has been suppressed for thousands of years. Every woman I speak to, no matter what their faith, their belief, whether they're a mom or they're not a mom, whether they're a pet mom, or fur baby mom, or they're single, or they're just focusing on their career, or they're traveling, no matter what their journey, everyone is pissed. Every strong woman is pissed off right now.
Oh my God, I remember the conversation about feminine rage, right?
Yeah.
And funny that, not really funny, nothing is coincidental, as you said. I started getting a lot of posts, research on my newsfeed about feminine rage. So I started digging deep. Some of the posts are coming in Polish. So it's very interesting for me.
Oh,
I started
really?
translating. So this is super powerful. I need to share it with you. I need to hear your reflection. So hear me out. As you said, for the last centuries, the women were sold a very elegant idea. Okay, I am doing some storytelling here.
I like this.
That we need to come back to our feminine energy to be more calm, more gracious, and more relaxed. So if something hurts us or someone did us wrong, they offer us a workshop. The whole industry was created on this idea. So you are just one workshop or one magical ceremony about opening of the heart away from being healed to deserve the love.
Gosh.
I'm having goosebumps. Let's continue. The joke. The joke is that the divine feminine is always connected to nurturing, receptive, and allowing, and never connected to angry, questioning, or being fucking done. So, let's look at our ancient goddesses or
I've
our
got stuff to
predecessor,
say.
Kali, Sekhmet, or Hecate. They didn't build their powers on being nice.
No.
When someone did them wrong, the whole world knew about it. My God, I'm vibrating right now. So over the years, we were trying to become the women that we bring peace and calm to everyone else. When we enter the room, people automatically relaxed.
Yeah, and we like fluffy kittens and pretty things, of course.
But then the intuition is there for us, as you said, the rage and the awakening that we now have in the world. We knew it, but somehow it was suppressed. You know, the narrative is rolling on because it's beneficial to some circles. And then with everything now that we see happening in the world, we have the orange twat massacring the countries. We have the
My
Epstein
husband
file.
called him the what was it? He called him the, you know, we have this crisp in the UK like a Cheeto. He calls him the cheesy what's it.
Please don't offend Cheesy Watsits.
You're
Let's
right.
stick to Orange Trump, BB, and this is a message to you. I'm not gonna call you guys. I don't know. You are monsters. So yeah, let's not get political, but we need to talk openly about it. The Epstein files and everything else going on in there. Women were wronged and silenced. And now even, I need to say that I'm Polish. I heard the Polish Prime Minister speaking on the national TV about their need to investigate this matter because there is obvious links to the Satanism, occult, eating children, eating flesh, cannibalism, and so on. So, I mean, the whole world is not talking about it because they created, an idea that doesn't have an evidence behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, feminine rage, not it's coming, it's already here.
Oh, there's so much rage. And as a mom,
Hmm.
I don't know, I said I wasn't going to swear too much today, but I don't know.
Okay, we can get one or two examples of profanities. Profanities are there for a reason, right?
Yeah. As a mum who has had a life of trauma that I wanted to protect my own child from, and raising a spectacular young man who's had his own challenges as well as a child. I won't talk about that publicly because he doesn't like me to. But how fucking dare they? We give life. We give so much of ourselves as women. We give life, the planet gives life, and the powers that be want to take it away and are saying, we have the power now to just wipe everything out and take everything away, disrupt your world. How fucking dare they? That's my anger. You know, we're fighting to try and make the world a place that we can... That is our duty on Earth.
Yeah.
Is to leave the world in a better state than we had it in. I really believe that. And as someone who is pagan, I'm furious because now what they're doing, look historically what they did. And the numbers are in the millions because still today people are being killed, women are being killed for being witches and all this stuff. People who understand their connection to the earth, the connection, being pagan just means people of the country when you break it down in Latin, okay, when you write the origin of the word. And they got rid of all the female pagan spiritual leaders. They got rid of all of them, all the priestesses all the years ago, all the leaders. They changed the narrative. The Bible's written by a bunch of wankers. The truth in the Bible is hidden, and you got parts of it. If we all went by the teachings of Jesus, right, and I'm not a Christian, we'd be okay. It's actually not a bad go forward, right? Mm-hmm. But now as well, people are saying to me like, oh, but you're pagan, right? And these people are eating, but it's not the same thing. Being an evil set of assholes is not the same thing as wanting to love, protect this earth and hand it forward to children, whether we have children or not, doesn't matter. It's our duty to leave it. Even if people, I know a lot of people don't have children, they have animals, and they love animals, they're passionate about animals. We're leaving it to them too. It's not their right to take it away. A friend of mine yesterday was talking to me from the States, and he was saying, oh, well, it's the politics and this, and then we've got this. I said, stop with the politics. Politics is rubbish. Politics is the smoke and mirrors so that we believe as human beings that we have some control. We have no control. Mm-hmm. That's what they're showing us. People's nervous systems are shattering around the world because they're realizing, I can't control my safety. And it's becoming so apparent. And that's being reinforced by the fact that there's all this stuff about we know this and we know that and we know that and we can see that. And it's obvious that person, they raped that child, they ate that child, they raped that woman. And then we stop because we're afraid. Because, oh my God, what does it mean now for us to say, no. You psychopaths. Yeah. We've got a psychopath in one country who's using someone else in another country as a puppet. As a pure example, this big boys club. And that's the only women that are involved of the older version of the pick-me woman. Mm-hmm. Nothing's being done. There are billions of us and there are a handful of them. Yeah. What are we going to do? How dare they take the safety of ourselves and our children and risk all because of power? And we know what it's about even. Mm-hmm. Money. Power, greed, hiding their disgusting deeds. Yeah. And all of that pagan shit I've seen about them doing online. As someone who's an old school pagan, watching what they're doing, and I'm just like, you're doing nothing. You're literally, all they're doing, all this stuff, they're praying to their own ego. That shit doesn't exist. It's just an excuse to be evil. Oh yeah, but we practice these secret societies. And it's, my mum, and I love you, Mum, has conspiracy theories coming out of her ears. And every one of them's turning out to be right. Now we're on the last one of aliens, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I swear to God, if an alien ship hovered, and it'd be like, right, we're here. We're here to take over. We're going to destroy your leadership. We're going to destroy the economy and leave you just with the planet. I'd be like, bring it on. You're going to run it? I just have a go because it couldn't be worse than where we're going. Yeah.
My conspiracy theory, funny enough, is that dinosaurs are going to come back. We need another big bang.
I could do with a few pterodactyls to throw at people, to be honest. I think that would be great. Send the pterodactyls because we're at that point. But it's what I'm seeing as a psychologist as well that breaks my heart every day and angers me is that we are clever. Human beings and everyone out there is so clever. They have such capability. And you see them being reduced, allowing themselves to being reduced. When people don't want you to focus on the main problem, they create an environment where you fight between yourselves. So we're fighting about immigration, passports, women are ruining the earth, men are ruining the earth. Even in the UK, it's, all those tax dodgers in the UAE, they don't deserve this, and other people, and unfortunately for them, people do pay taxes back in the UK, into the UK. It's just insane to me how people don't realize, human beings don't realize how much potential and how clever they are and how much power they have. Because they're handing all their power and they're feeding all their power into bickering between small groups. Imagine if everyone got together and like, you got your beliefs, and we've got all that shit. Let's park that aside for a second. What if we make our focus, how do we stop all these people in the world making this an unsafe world for children? We'll start from that.
I think this is the call to our viewers and the larger society.
Mm.
Because coming together is what is gonna save us.
Yeah.
If we continue this way, fighting each other and just being angry in our small corners, I mean, for me, it's
We're going to be
just-
destroyed by
We're
them.
gonna be destroyed by this, yes.
It's absolutely.
Psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I've worked previously in big organizations, I used to get called the Wendy Rhodes of organizations, the way I work with my psychology and I was coaching and stuff. 'Cause I was very direct. But not as direct as I wanted to be, because the thing I observed is how much psychopathy, how much narcissism, how much sociopathy, how much downright unregulated, unchallenged mental disorders, personality disorders are running organizations, huge financial institutions, political offices, because these people, they're enigmatic. We want a leader because, oh my God, they'll take over everything. They'll make it safe for us and then it'll be okay. And it's normal for us to have, and I don't want ever people to blame themselves for voting for who they voted for, even if it turns out badly. For people parading down the streets and hoping they're doing the right thing, to protest, or people have to realize that they're doing their best, and our best isn't good enough unless we realize that there are billions of us and a pocket of those wankers.
Yeah, and the strength is in the collective, right? And this is the message that we want to give out there. We need to join our forces together.
Yeah.
Imagine the rage.
Imagine that.
When we are all together.
And have you heard as well in other countries that some very wealthy people are building bunkers because they're scared of civil wars? Of course they are.
Lovely. What
They
kind of
should
life
be.
is this? If you are mega rich and you're sitting in a bunker, I mean...
I think go to your bunkers now. Fuck off down there. Can we leave them down there? Can we lock it from the outside? In fact, they can all go down their bunkers. They can all eat each other. They can shag who they want. They can, just have their group of wankerdom.
Yeah, they
Lock
can
them
have
in
their own Hunger
and just say,
Games.
you're in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
10 years down there. Like time out for toddlers.
Yeah.
There you are. There's your time out.
I love it. So, let us connect this rage with definitions of resilience and agility.
Yeah.
Because you've mentioned your circle of resilient women. I'm also reflecting a lot how I've been able to curate a circle of people in my life who vibrate at similar frequency,
Yeah.
who have similar values, so they don't bring any drama, we just elevate each other. So where is your resilience coming from?
Mine. Motherhood. My resilience was grown, obviously, if we've talked before, since childhood, and but I will say that my resilience coming from a life of trauma and love, because I've had lots of love, but I've had lots of trauma. But I refuse to let my child come into this world, especially a child who's neurodivergent and has had his own challenges and will continue to. He sees the world in such a beautiful way. He sees such potential in human beings when he meets them. You just see it in his eyes. And that resilience for me is I will not give up till my dying breath of making this world a better place for my son. Not at all. That's where my resilience comes from. What about you?
When you said trauma and love, this is exactly my story. And I have some really good examples. A few years back, a coach asked me during a random conversation at a conference, where is your resilience coming from? And that got me thinking, and I keep thinking and reflecting till today. So examples that come to my mind, I was born at the fall of the communism era in Poland. Okay, my grandfather from the paternal side had ties with the communist force. They were in opposition to church. So when I was born, my mother wanted to baptize me. The priest said, no, we cannot do it because of the connection. You can do it in secret. So my mother decided, thank you for this, Magda is gonna decide by herself when she's grown up. Magda learned this when she was a teenager and she said, fuck church. Just to clarify,
I'm not
religion and church is something completely different. Fuck the institution of church. How dare, this is the rage. How dare they say that a newborn child is a communist
That's insane.
and can be of danger to the institution of church. So this, exclusion, right? I'm excluded from the moment I am born. And then I remember religion classes were mandatory in primary school. I remember I had that picture in my head, the corridor, the bench I'm sitting at when other children are in the class, Magda is sitting outside. I can feel the looks of everyone who is passing by. Of course they don't care, they're not looking at me, but I feel so excluded, I feel so different, I feel so unwelcomed. Thank you for this. So all the exclusion, but then there is love. So there is big trauma of my parents and what happened at school, and the love of my grandfather and his parents, so grandma and grandfather. You know, I've experienced the opposites. So extreme hurt and hate, but also love and empathy. So I think these people showed me that there is a different way. And I remember, that's another thing that I want to say. I remember having that rage inside me as this small girl saying, this is not right. I was not shouting, but the girl inside was shouting, this is not right. I deserve better. Why other children have better life than me? Why they are not stressed? Why they are not humiliated? Why? And I took that rage of 4 decades to create this version.
I love this. What did you see your grandfather? What do you think is the greatest thing is that he taught you?
So his story is also full of trauma. His wife was an alcoholic. She became homeless by choice. She stole from him. He had to sell businesses to pay debts. I never seen this man angry, being horrible to other people. He didn't swear, he didn't drink. Like, you cannot imagine someone who was exposed to so much of shit in his life, he still continue giving love. Oh my God. For me, this is like, yeah.
But this is our power as human beings. We have a choice.
Yes.
I know that people in the UK or people in different countries, different regions within different countries, different factions of religions and different upbringings, and some people, people are anti-nepo babies because they started on a foot ahead, or 10 feet ahead or 1,000 feet ahead, but that's what we kind of want to do for our kids. We want to set them up, and then they're blamed from birth. Like, how dare you be born with money? Like, oh God, I was just born. I'm just trying to fart and eat. I just don't know what's going on. But we don't realize that we have such power in us as human beings. And human beings, I see them all the time, even the ones that are arguing and they're bickering and they're angry and they're shouting and they're screaming at each other in the streets, and they have so much power within them still to say, do you know what, this is really, really awful, this is really shit, but I'm not going to allow the powers that be, whether it's political or religious, to force me down a path of hatred towards humanity, because hatred doesn't feel nice. I think is it Buddhists that say, is it the Dalai Lama? I'm not sure, forgive me, but so it's like, there's something that I've read somewhere that said, feeling anger towards someone else or feeling jealousy towards us, or anger, I think it is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. So we're drinking the Kool-Aid, which is full of poison, right? And we're all hating each other. And I imagine, because this is what they're doing, the gods of Olympus up there with their politics and the head of the religious institutions and the rewriting of history where they want to, and the hiding of certain things, dictating how the schools and how everyone's been learning. All of your educations, everyone's educations have been dominated by the powers that be, are all sat up there. Do you think they're all sat in their homes right now thinking, oh, I'm worried about the kids? Because they've been raping children, eating children, killing children, abusing, torturing them to believing that capturing their screams will give them some sort of great sacrifice or longevity. And fuck, I feel so angry. But they're up there. They don't care. They're up there. I have been exposed to a few really nice billionaires. People with lovely personalities who shocked me, who I had an idea of what a billionaire would be like. And they've even said to me the same thing, and it was the same word used, was cattle. Mm-hmm. That the elite of this earth, the elite of who are at the top, see the rest of humanity as cattle. They see all of you as cattle. You are expendable. They do not care. Mm. And people are saying, like in the States right now, oh, no, we're taken care of. Our children will be safe. Have you seen what that man has done and partaken in? Do you think what has he been visited by 3 ghosts? And woken up.
Christmas past,
Yeah, and he's woken up and gone, oh, I don't want to be that person. No, he hasn't. Mm. He's now wanting, I need the war right now so that I don't get pushed out of office. We know it. And we know that, Israel has been waiting for a president for decades.
Yeah.
That they can say, hey, this is what we do. Mm. Have you seen the map of Israel? Mm-hmm. The real map. Mm-hmm. The real map covers a lot more than the space you're seeing right now. Yes. And that's the agenda. Mm-hmm. And again, I will say it, I'm very grateful for the security in this country. And I'm not saying that because I see a lot of influence out there going, yay, we love the UAE, they will protect us. And I get that, right? I'm not doing that. People are saying they're getting paid and stuff. And as a person who isn't getting paid for that, I will say...
By whom?
Yeah. This has been my home for 20 years. I've built a life and career here, gone through the recession here. It's hard environment, as we know, to work here. Mm-hmm. I've had my son here. I've married here. I've divorced here. I've remarried here. We've built a home. We have our many, many animals. We live a peaceful life. We work very hard.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, poof.
Yeah.
You know what? Everything you've built doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Because you realize suddenly, it doesn't matter what you build. Everything can end. I don't know if you saw the movie French Kiss with Meg Ryan years ago.
Maybe.
And she was so afraid of losing her fiancé. She did lose him. But then she realized something as the story went on. She said something along the lines of, there's no relationship secure enough. There's no house safe enough. And that's it. Mm-hmm. There's no amount of security that we can build that will ever be safe enough against what they're doing. And whilst we're all looking at each other and fighting about location and passports, the UK is brilliant at the moment. You haven't paid tax, you've paid tax, we have paid tax, we hate you, don't come back here, we don't care. We don't want the immigrants. If you're brown, we don't want you. If you're white, we don't want you. I give up. What are we all fighting about? Women are ruining the earth. Men are ruining the earth. Everyone's fighting at each other. And the children are growing up seeing that. And whilst we're all bickering amongst each other, it's like the gods of Olympus are on their cloud with their popcorn going, these idiots. Because they think we're idiots. Mm-hmm. But we're not. Human beings. Even when I see people online at the moment, I got trolled the other day. And a few times people are very anti-psychologist as well, because psychology's let people down over the last 100 years. It's been full of ego. It's been not accessible. Left a huge void for people who are now coming out self-proclaimed psychologists and all sorts. You know, I saw it the other day. Someone calling themselves psychologist. I'm just like, I don't know. That does piss me off after training for 10 years and spending hundreds of thousands of pounds to become one and go and breaking myself emotionally. But I just see that we have so much potential that they don't want us to see. The gods of Olympus, the people who think they are the gods of Olympus, having their popcorn above us going, no, let's bomb there, let's do that, let's hit that, let's do that, let's screw over those people, let's change our mind on that and doing all of this. They see human beings that are not in their circle as expendable and worthless. And I can see it now, more than ever. But I see so much potential still in humanity to wake up and go, I don't want to fight with you anymore. I don't want to fight with you anymore. Let's stop. I don't agree with your beliefs. I don't agree with your beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? That would be okay. Just say, but let's park it. You don't have to stop thinking, oh, I think this, or the UK, this should be a Christian country, it should be this, but none of these people go to church mostly. I've gone to many churches in the UK, they're always empty, and I'm just like, what are you fighting about? But, you know, we have the ability, and people, I wish they could see they have the ability. Even the people who are fighting with me online and saying about, psychologists don't understand. No, not all psychologists understand. You're angry. You're angry because you feel you've not been given enough information about psychology for a long time. People are fighting online because they're hurting, they're angry, they're scared. And it's easier for the brain to deal with a small fight on the internet that you think you can win than it is to deal with looking above and seeing the big problem. The brain naturally, and I don't want people to blame themselves for this, it's not people's fault that they're arguing with each other, because they've been trained and raised to do it, but also the brain naturally thinks, well, what can I deal with right now?
Yeah.
How can I compartmentalize this so I can break it down and fight it? So those little fights between us all, we are not going to beat this bullshit from the gods of Olympus unless we stop the little fights.
Yeah. And that's awareness, right? So you have awareness, choice, change, the magic formula that I use in the mental agility framework. Awareness doesn't matter how painful. Okay, I've been behaving like a bellend recently. No problem. This is your starting point. Now you have a choice. Do something about it. Save your energy. Like for the past 14 days, I am engaging in a lot of conversations in the online space. I cannot not justify, not to comment on the orange twat or the other post. I have a right to say, this is not right. Why are you doing this? How dare you? I've been living, this is actually what I wrote. I am living a peaceful life in Dubai. How dare you come and scare the hell out of me and everyone else here? And then every now and then, but very little actually, I have to say, people are replying to my comments in a negative way. But you know, my reply is, thank you very much for this lovely feedback. Please keep it coming. And a love emoji. And I don't think about it, but I've trained my brain. It took me many years not to get triggered or not to get upset by a random comment. I don't even know this person. I don't know who this person is. Maybe they are poor, maybe sitting on the street, bombs are flying above their head. It doesn't really matter. It's not even directed at me. And I would not waste a single minute producing a thought and then replying to that person. For me, this is the way that I respect myself and I value my time. Because our time on this planet is very short. We are here for a little while. Let's make it worthwhile. Like conversations like this. Enriching my being, enriching my soul, and not a pity conversation with someone who is angry. Yes, we need to go and protest. We need to bring our rage against what is going on, but let's do it as a collective.
Yeah, but we need to talk first. We need to learn, before people approach that, we need to very quickly learn how to communicate and put things down. we've got to adapt to that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we can adapt to that very quickly, the only way to do that is, like I said, is literally just saying, you've got to take all the things that are out of our control at the moment, that are being taken away from us, and the things that we can control. And so the things I can control right now is I can control that I've got an issue with where you were from, or what you're doing in my country, or the rest of it. And I'm not going to attack anyone's beliefs for whatever reason they have them. I may not agree with them. I often don't, but whatever. You need to be able to say that's going to go away. It is important for me, but I'm going to put it away in a box right now. And we're just going to sit here as human beings.
Yeah.
Blank slate, tabula rasa, that's it. And saying, we need to stop where this world is going. I've seen pictures of people praying over the orange twat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, apparently he's been
An
sent by...
exorcism that was not praying.
It's a really good point.
100%.
A splash of holy water might have sorted this all out. I feel they've missed an opportunity.
Or garlic clove or something.
Has anyone tried putting garlic around him? And that other dickhead, Netanyahu?
Yeah.
Fucking evil. I saw that, and people are saying, and I speak to people who are in the military in the US, and they're like, we're being told that we are part of Armageddon. They're being told they're part... The politicians are literally narrating Armageddon and telling them that, we're responsible, that, the orange twat was anointed by Jesus, was brought about by Jesus. I'm sorry, right? But I may be pagan, but I do believe that Jesus existed. I do believe that Muhammad, peace be upon him, existed. I don't think any of them would pick him. I really don't. Based on what they hoped for humanity and what they wanted for humanity, I can't see that he would be picking them, these leaders.
I think he would pick him to be expelled from this planet.
Yeah, like those, the Acme catapult,
Yes.
in the cartoons, the coyote got strapped in with that helmet and twanged off. I think that's what
Jesus would
do.
Yeah.
And people find it interesting in my home because I've got a photograph of Jesus, not photograph, just photograph of Jesus. I'm a special. Could you imagine? Could just walk in and go, connected. Met the dude.
He follows me on Instagram.
He follows me on Instagram. Isa follows me on Instagram. He's there fucking hell. So tired. So tired from all the alerts going off. I have this picture of this. It's like a portrait of my grandmother converted to Catholicism, which you imagine she used to send me on all these pilgrimages because she couldn't go. She's like, can you go on my behalf? And I used to get on a bus for the very old people with nuns at the front falling left and right as the bus was turning with their rosaries and go on these pilgrimages and stay in convents and stuff, lying on a bed thinking, I must really love my grandma. I'm literally this pagan lying there going, this is an interesting experience. But we got along. But it was strange. But then I also have a quote in the House of Jesus and stuff on the wall, and people are so surprised by that. And I've been given gifts from Muslim friends, from Jewish friends, from Buddhist friends, from Christian friends of different factions, and they're all in my house because they all come with a beautiful intent of a beautiful belief of the love of a greater connection between us all. And I love that. And I think, historically, pagans, we were mostly wiped out by everybody else. And we're the most appropriated religion in the world, where people just go off and have all the symbols and crystals and chants and stuff, and Christmas trees that come from us, and star on the tree that comes from us, and the egg and the rabbit Easter that comes from us, and we don't mind. We just go along with it. Imagine if everyone else did. How simple would that be? I like some of Mel Robbins' work. And I would do say that does apply. Let it fucking go.
Let them. But
In the
also
words of
let
Elsa
yourself. Yeah.
from Frozen, let it go. Let go of the shit that you keep. If you're squabbling like children, if you find yourself drawn into an argument online going, oh my God, I hate you. It's your people and your people. Yeah. Pause. You're there. You literally are at playground squabbling level because that is how we've been trained as human beings to be. You have the strength and the power. And, you know, some people liked Obama, some people didn't. But Obama said something. He said, you expect when you get to the top that everyone knows what they're doing and they're amazing leaders and they're really intelligent and all the rest of it. And he was like, no.
We are all winging it.
Yeah. All human beings have this capability and capacity, and we believe that there are others that deserve to be above us and are better than us at leading, and then better than us at running countries and know more about us about economies. And no, they don't. But then we empower them and say, all right, I'll give you full control over our lives. Now we're realizing how much control we've given them.
You've empowered me so much. I'm gonna run for president.
Why not?
They're not better than us.
They're not better than us.
They're not better than us.
We have the full capability. We have so much potential as human beings. And like I said, even the people that are squabbling, they're angry, and they just have to stop and realize that you don't have to do that, because whilst you're squabbling, you're missing your full potential. You're missing your full potential. You really are.
So interestingly, you said pause, and this is something that needs to happen before we get that powerful awareness. So I bring another magic formula. Pause.
Yeah.
Think. Talk.
Yeah.
I've used it with senior execs. Simple. And the secret here, majority of people skip the first two. They just talk. So this is what happens. Whether you are in the online space or in a face-to-face conversation, you are angry, emotions are running high, and you continue trying to prove your point instead of hear and see the human in front of you.
You know, the other day I was watching, because, you know, I work with sports and stuff, and I was watching 2 jiu-jitsu champions fighting. I was just interested. I don't do jiu-jitsu. I love Muay Thai and boxing. So I'm, you know, different, very fast, very reactive, very aggressive, lots of injuries left at the end, you know. It's different to Brazilian jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu. I was watching a BJJ. And I thought, God, they're slow. And I was watching them. And they were literally gripping each other on the ground, these 2 very strong men. And they're pausing. They're literally planning carefully the next movement or move. There's no loss of strength in that. Because the strength of these 2 guys I was watching, I was like, Jesus, wow, like that is unreal. They've pinned each other down, but they're not like pushing and fighting and getting angry. They're really calm. And they're thinking and they're strategizing. And then they move. They paused. They're pausing before taking the next step, the action. And at the end of it, they shake hands. And there's great camaraderie in BJJ. It's huge. And I watched that and I thought, I was thinking about it on the way here, and I thought, we can learn so much from that. There was a speech by a gentleman on television. He won an award, and something to do with entertainment. And forgive me, I don't remember his name. And he said, slowly is the best, or something like...
It's the fastest way to go.
Yeah, he was, well, slowly is the best way to get to where you're going. And when he said it, I thought, really? Because I'm really impatient, you know. But we're now being trained to be even more impatient because we get constant cortisol spikes and dopamine hits from doom scrolling everything's instant. There's no pausing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're too busy with the little things, the tiny micro things, scroll, this phone. Oh, I can order my food. Is it here? Is it here in 15 minutes? Oh, it's coming. I have such an expectation. Immediate. We don't pause
Mm-hmm.
and consider what's actually happening around us, what's happening in our world. In a few weeks' time, I'm going to be in Australia for a bit of a break, but I'm also going down to New Zealand, to Queenstown. And my husband, I said, why do you want to be in Queenstown? I said, because it's the place that I can leave my phone and I can breathe. Queenstown's beautiful, New Zealand's absolutely beautiful. I feel like if everyone went there and had a glimpse and had the luck and the joy of seeing that place, they would realize how beautiful the world is. Because as well, the powers that be keep building on everything. And we're less connected to the world. We're less connected to nature.
Mm-hmm.
We're more we are becoming separated from nature by walls and cement more and more continually, by our phones, by AI, everything. And we are more and more distant from the earth, more than ever before.
From the healing powers, right?
From the healing power of being connected to this earth. And I'm a psychologist and a scientist. And the evidence showing that how we connect with our earth. I remember years ago, people used to laugh at me when I travelled long haul. First thing I used to do was take my shoes off and go outside on the grass to get rid of jet lag. And they thought I was insane. I'd be out there just, my Louboutins in my hand. It wasn't always Louboutins. It was very cheap shoes at one point, and I loved them too. But, eventually I had nicer shoes. My Louboutins in my hand, padding around on the grass or on the sand. And now everyone's like, oh no, there's science behind grounding us. And I'm like, yeah.
It's always been there.
It's always been there. But unless someone comes online, speaks with authority, that's the only time we believe it.
Or tries to sell us a formula. First
Yes.
diagnose the problem, and then here you go, magic solution.
And people saying to me, oh, buy a grounding sheet. Just go into the garden, man. Put your feet on the ground. Connect with nature. Remind yourself how fantastic this world is. And you aren't separate from it. You are a beautiful being in a beautiful world. And you have such potential. All of our potentials are being muted, blanket covered, and we are put into boxes. And you see this we see books now. There's a book about one called I think it's called Brave New Work, or Brave New World. Anyway, look, and he wrote this book. The way that school systems are set up, the way organization charts are designed, is based historically on either factory workers or building railroads and, on complete sort of dominance over your workforce.
Yeah, industrial era leadership.
It hasn't changed.
No.
Even in the school systems, what children are learning, has been dictated.
They're not learning, they're being conditioned.
They're being conditioned. The bell goes off.
Yeah.
You sit. You ask permission to pee.
Yeah. You got a good grade, you are a valuable human.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you don't, and that's where a lot of when you see with boys and young men, academically they see that girls often excel more than the boys. The boys are pushed more into sport and performance, etc. But then boys are told you're not good enough as girls and you're not doing this, and their worth is literally tied to performance as men in one way, and women have it tied to them in another. And then they perform women, and they're told, but stop performing, you now got to be feminine, you got to perform the feminine. All a performance. That's why when I talk about, I was having a conversation the other day to a friend, they said, you talk about unperforming. She said, but that's so weird. You work in performance, elite performance, whatever that means. Just means high stakes roles, right? If I don't perform, you fail. Like if I don't win the race, if my client doesn't win the race, he's essentially in his head failed, And I said we have to unperform before we can perform anything in our life. The whole world's a stage, because we were handed scripts from that our parents were handed to us. So a lot of people, I know in like Gen X and millennials, we got to the whole like blaming the parent thing, and you know, and Freud was great at that as well. But they were also handed a script. I'm not taking away from anyone's bad behavior if they grew up with really shit parents, but we're handed a script by society, by school, by gender, by country, by politics, within your family unit, and you're told this is how you are, this is who you are, this is how you're expected. And if you challenge that, it's like the mothership overarching rule when I talk about double binds. What happens is you have to be all these different impossible contradicting things. You have to be a female that's doing well in school, but remember not to perform too high and, you know, go above your station, still be feminine. But don't question the system. That's the overarching umbrella rule. It's always don't question the family system, don't question the gender system, don't question the corporate system, don't question the political system. But we are handed impossible rules by family, school, politics, corporate life, work life, expectations of gender. We are handed impossible rules that then leave us in complete states of conflict. So we have to go back and say, right, what script have I been given? Okay. I don't want that script anymore. I'm handing that back. I'm shredding that. I'm burning that. Whatever you want to do with it, you know, flush it down the toilet. And I'm trying to understand now how I rebuild my script of how I perform, who I'm performing. And it's not about winning, performing, or achieving something. It's about showing up. When I talk about performance, it's about showing up for yourself as you should have the right to be, and saying, you know what, I don't want that script anymore. I want a different one. I think we mentioned it before, but a really amazing example is, I fucking hate the word, grow old gracefully. There's so much online about this at the moment, and it's getting worse as well because it's being pushed in media for women to turn on more women, and
it's an industry again. And yeah, I've been speaking about it recently, and I said, why do we even agree with this definition? Why cannot we replace it with an evolution, an upgrade? Because we're past 40, the hormones start doing the work. We already have the experience. We already have the wisdom. We have the rage that has built to an extreme level. And then awareness, choice, change. And I start transmuting this rage and anger into creative space.
Yeah. See, I see it as they've picked the fight at a very wrong time. Gen X is in perimenopause or menopause. Wrong time to pick a fight, because we are like the feral generation, and we're just like,
oh my days.
Well, people are like, you know, younger generations are saying like, hang on a minute, they're waking up online as well, and they're getting angry at all generations old, and I don't blame them. They're saying, hang on a minute, this world is literally being flushed down the toilet. We haven't even had a chance to find our place in it.
Yeah.
And they want to blame older generations. Well, good for you. Use that fire. Use that fire. But they have to remember that there is a generation of women who literally at the point of, I'm old enough now to say, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you think about how I look like, how I dress, what I believe in. I just want to get on with my day. I want to live my life in peace. And I want to appreciate my life. Oscar Wilde said, youth is wasted on the young. I don't think that's entirely true. But I think there is something in there, and I don't know how to say it, maybe you can say it better than me, where I think that we don't allow the youth, the younger people, to come to the realization that you do in your 40s. Because everyone you speak to now, you, me, everyone that we speak to, I wish I had this understanding and knowledge of not giving a fuck anymore about the rules I've been handed that I do not want anymore. I wish I'd had that knowledge at 20 or 30. And as older generations, I believe we have a responsibility to enable younger generations to do it. My parents are boomers, baby boomers. They came from a period of time where they were trying to adjust post-war. People think rationing, for example, stopped at the end of World War II. This went on for many years. And then they were dictated to. Women who'd looked after the country were sent back into the home. Men were told to take on these roles. You weren't allowed to have mental health issues because, you know what, we had to have the stiff upper lip and we had to carry on, didn't we, as humanity? And that's what they had to do. They were handed a really shitty stick. They really were. And then when it came to Gen X, there was so much revolution happening for us growing up. And the world saying, hang on, we want more control over it. And then what happened then with the millennials, it was like creativity and this innovation and technology, and you see this. The later generations, what the fuck are we handing them? And we have to think about that. And yeah, they have a responsibility, but it's like the race with the baton. We're the ones running up. If we're waving it above our heads, or we're waving it down here, or we're holding it back, or we're giving them like, you know, some sort of limp dick stick, slapping with it, you know, and just not helping them. What are we handing them? Because they're ready.
Yeah.
They need something to run with. But we've got to think about, because they don't have the history that we do. And especially Gen X, you know, everyone says, oh, boomers had it hard, Gen X had it hardest, whatever. My son is 11, and he said to me a few days ago, I've had such a traumatic life, and it broke my heart. I said, talk about that. He said, aside from the fact I've changed schools and moved house, which kids do find traumatic, he said, you know, I've lived through a pandemic, and he said, and now I'm in a war zone. And he said, I've got no control over what's going on. I don't understand. What is the point? What is happening? What is happening in the world, Mum? Is there going to be a world left? He's 11. And those are brilliant questions. And people are saying, well, the younger generation, and everyone's picking on the younger generation, they've got it easier. They're supposed to have it easier. But they haven't. They haven't had it easier. They've had a different form of absolute drama. I really find it funny with Gen X people, though, because they always say, oh, we had it the worst. But then they always say, oh, Gen X was the best time in their lives. Make up your mind. Just make up your mind. But I want the newer generations to have it better. Isn't that what we want?
I think this is how we can utilize the rage to empower them and to share. And maybe give a shortcut.
We have to protect the world that we're giving them.
Absolutely. And then they say they're not resilient. I mean, hello, can you see what is going on outside the window?
Yeah. My son's like laying there, you know, the other day I went in, actually it was yesterday. Yesterday I went into my son's bedroom. The alerts were going off. There were missiles being intercepted overhead. The house was shaking. And as immediately as a mother, you think, I've got to check my kid's okay. So I ran to see him in his room. And I said, do you want to come downstairs and, you know, and sit where, you know, we shelter, where it's safer? And he said, no, I want to stay in here. And I was like, okay. He said, Mum, I'm just annoyed. It's disruptive. And I just want to be able to get on with my studies. I want to be able to be with my friends. I want my childhood. My son said, I want my childhood. He's 11. He wants his childhood. He doesn't feel like he's had a full childhood. Now, despite me and the trauma I went through in different parts of my childhood, I had a childhood. But they were taught, my son's generation, at a very young age in school, that there is something, my husband said this, there's something scary outside. It will kill you. And you have no control over that, so you've got to stay indoors. And they were literally an experiment of being, this is how controlled we can make you. The pandemic was for me, and I said it at the time, and just before it really kicked off, I could see it coming. Just because of the work early in my career in environments similar to Wuhan, which obviously I can't go into, but could see it coming. And I remember saying in the organization I was in at the time, this is going to be one of the biggest social experiments humanity has ever been put through deliberately. And it was a social experiment. And then we all are angry afterwards because we all fell for it.
That's an interesting one, because for me, pandemic was the best experience
Oh,
on my
really?
professional journey.
I'm like, what?
And a personal journey. I laugh.
I wish I drank alcohol when you said that. I
I
feel like I
was
need a shot.
in charge of a COVID-filled hospital here in Dubai.
Oh, you had a
And
very different experience.
I feel blessed that I wasn't in the UK and the NHS at that point, because
Oh,
I know
God.
how much my colleagues and everyone else suffered. Here, I had everything available. Like, what do you need? I need this, 1, 2, 3, because this is how Dubai moves. They had the best pandemic preparedness plan in the world.
Yeah,
they
they did,
use
yeah.
AI to predict the ICU capacities. You know, they were prepared to the level you
Yeah.
can. I've seen it on the ground. Okay, I'm not creating stories or telling stories for money. Yeah, just to say everything is amazing.
Yeah,
in
neither
Dubai.
of us are, by the way.
Because I had this level of safety in the organization and in the facility, that's why I was able to be psychologically safe. And then I started thinking, how do I adjust my leadership to take care of my people who were scared? But me, with my trauma, and trauma did it, trauma helped me through life be almost on that edge, because you don't know what is coming the following day, right? So I didn't know whether my father is gonna come drunk and beat up my mother. Same in the pandemic, we don't know what is gonna happen. So I'm always ready. But
You've been
when
trauma
I
trained. We
learned-
call it being trauma trained.
There you
so
go.
you're like, it's now you can read a room, I bet, better than anyone. You
Oh
can go
my
in.
goodness.
And people go, it's such a gift. I'm such an empath. And I'm like, empaths come, if you like the term empath,
Yeah.
empaths are trauma trained people.
Of course.
They've literally been raised in a way that this isn't some magical
Yeah,
gift.
I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to be scared. So I developed crazy ideas at the beginning, and then I found out there is evidence base behind it. There is science. So I said, listen, guys, we're gonna thrive instead of surviving. How can we thrive in the middle of pandemic?
Yeah.
Like, the nurses don't want to go home because they're gonna bring the virus to the children, and there is news that your toes are gonna turn black and they're gonna fall off, and every day there is a different story. And I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
let's make it work. To the point that I asked my husband, like, okay, let's bake cupcakes. And I started bringing cupcakes every week. I would go around all the nurses' station, share the cupcakes, let's sit down, let's talk about life. Just normal conversations. I don't care about KPIs at this point. How much drugs have we used? Is the stock
Yeah.
adding up? I could not care less.
Yeah.
If I take care of my humans are gonna take care of the operational stuff and also of the patients in the room.
Yeah.
That's why it was the best professional and personal time on my journey. I've learned so much. I've moved from hero, that I talk about in my book, to being a human. I learned the pause. I learned all the science. And funny that I started applying it on other people before I started applying it on myself. So they were the rabbits, perhaps, when I saw, wow, this is working, this is working, this is working. They are thriving. Okay, I can also do it.
Yeah.
I can also pause. I can slow down. I am allowed to say, I'm tired. Can you take care of me? I am weak
Yeah.
now. I feel weak today. I don't want to be the hero anymore.
People who describe themselves to me in psychology as empaths have to learn to protect themselves and their energy, and their wellness. And I've seen great relationships where you see people who are great empaths with great protective partners. And it doesn't mean they take away, from the empath being in control of their life, etc. But it means when they come home, they don't have to, use that. And I call it in my book, sonar developed in the wild. Because that's what happens with empaths. People, people say to me, about you're so talented. You enter a room, Gwen, and you'll be the same, right? I bet. Enter a room and you can read people. You move quickly. You're a social chameleon. You have this brightness and energy, and you engage people, and you know who to speak to, and you know what trouble's going on, and you pick up where the fight is, and wow, what a gift. I'm like, nope. Sonar developed in the wild. It's from traumatic situations, not knowing what's going to happen next, and uncertainty. And some people get destroyed by that and they don't make it. A lot of people commit suicide because of that, because they can't take how much they feel. And people who say they are empaths, and I see a lot of this talk online, social media. As soon as I see they're like, well, I identify as an empath, and I immediately feel the compassion. Compassion for them. I immediately feel a compassion for them. Because I think, what did life do to you to get to that point? When people walk into rooms and they sense an argument's just happened, or your spidey senses are going, it's warning you. And people you have people in relationships, for example, who say, I just have a feeling that this thing happened. I've got this gut feeling. Now, obviously people can have paranoia and stuff, and that is a real thing. But I'm always like, what is your spider senses telling you? What is it? Because sometimes we're so well trained that our senses pick up on things.
Yeah.
That people are not. There's a lot of animosity and even not always animosity, but like conversational conflict going on at the moment in the UAE amongst expatriates. It's the camp of, we're staying here, we feel fine, we feel safe. The country's kept us very safe so far, obviously, given how much the forces have tried to attack, right? And we have got other people then saying, no, I want to leave. And, people saying, well, why would you leave? And it's all quite, now everyone's fighting about that. We will find anything to fight about at times like this. But what I'm seeing is, it's sad, because people don't realize at times like this, no matter how calm you feel or how logical you feel about a situation, your nervous system, it's like breathing. You don't have to think about breathing. You breathe naturally. Your nervous system's always functioning. But our nervous systems are being told by noise, by sound, by change and routine that there is a threat. And it's exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting. So, for me, I'm traveling out because I need a break. I just want a break from my son, from myself, from the disruption. And that's okay as well. But there's this whole, and obviously and now everyone's starting fighting, Dubai wasn't the greatest dream. People who either didn't do well here or couldn't be here or are not happy in their situation or feel unfairly treated or are unfairly treated will look at others who they feel have had a better life and be angry that they had a better life and then think, well, ha ha ha, you haven't got a better life now. I don't blame them. I actually don't blame them because they've been put in that situation by society, by politics to feel that way. I don't blame them.
Yeah, majority of the time they haven't chosen that situation, right?
I just think we are at a turning point in humanity where we either collectively come together and say, these self-appointed gods of Olympus no longer are in charge.